You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P. Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of interviewing the Flagler College assistant golf coach, Coach Alex Naumovski. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college golf?
Yeah, so I played college golf for about 6 years, kind of a crazy backstory to that. Um, I really just enjoy the aspect of traveling and helping others, helping mentor like younger college students. I'm very competitive, so that was also a big thing for me. So that's kind of how I knew I wanted to get into college coaching because I enjoyed my time so much in college. I wasn't quite ready to, I guess, like leave that area.
What was that experience like going to college and first going to Seminole State College?
Yeah, so a little backstory. I'm from a town just outside of Toronto, Canada. I was homeschooled from grade 8 up until college. And I wasn't NCAA eligible at the time, so junior college was the only option for me right out of the gate. So I was fortunate enough to attend Seminole State College, which was and still is one of the best junior colleges in the nation. We competed for a national championship both years that I was there. I was under the tutelage of a really awesome fellow Canadian coach, actually, Krista Tino. She's still there. She's won multiple national titles with her team. She was a great coach, learned a lot from her, learned a lot about the mental game also from her and her staff. So that was great. It was great to live in Florida. That school is located just outside Orlando. We played in all kinds of tournaments. We played against Division 1, Division 2, other JUCOs, so it was like quite a wide range that I was able to compete against and test my game. So I'm very grateful for those 2 years there.
What was that experience like then going to Lee College and getting to play your rest or your remainder?
Yeah, so actually, well, after Seminole State, so it's a junior college, so you can only be there for 2 years. I then transferred to my dream school, which was Coastal Carolina University. So I played for Coastal Carolina my junior and senior year. And then my senior year happened to be 2020. So that kind of got ripped away from me and the other seniors all over the country, which really sucked. But it's kind of a crazy story how I got to Lee. So after I was done at Coastal Carolina, my plans were to become a graduate assistant coach at Regis University, which is located in Denver, Colorado. So I was supposed to coach there 2020 to 2022. And then I made plans for that literally February 2020. So then March 2020 rolled around and everything got canceled. So I was like, well, what do I do now? Because they had given like an extra year to all the senior or like to everybody, I guess, to all the athletes, like an extra COVID year. So I called the coach of Regis and I was like, hey, like I know I'm supposed to be your grad assistant coach, but like, would you care if I played for you for 1 year and then coach for the second year? And he was like, yeah, of course, like let's do that. So then I finished at Coastal that fall. Regis actually canceled all their golf tournaments. Like many programs like canceled their tournaments for fall of 2020 just because like it was still kind of crazy. So that fall didn't play any tournaments. Spring 2021 rolled around. We played a couple tournaments, but most of them got canceled. Anyway, so they all got canceled, and then they were like, well, we have to get like legally the conference had to give us another year. So I ended up receiving like another year of college. So I guess technically like I was a sixth year after that. And I loved my teammates, loved my coaches there. I didn't quite enjoy the area or like the school just wasn't like a great fit for me. So I went back into the transfer portal and that summer, I was working up north at Niagara Falls Country Club in Buffalo, New York, and I'm talking to different schools. I really had my sight set on this one school, and it didn't work out. Then toward like midsummer. Like it's getting close to the fall. Like I'm like, I need to commit somewhere, otherwise I have nowhere to go. I'm gonna waste my sixth year. I got an email from Lee University. The assistant coach at the time, Jessica Shepley, another Canadian, great coach. She's not there anymore, but she kind of recruited me to Lee. They offered me a full ride. They were a well-ranked Division II school. And at this time, I was looking to go into D2. Regis was D2. I was like, I did my thing with D1. I'm like, I kind of want to go into D2 now. And also, D2 is a lot of good grad programs and stuff. So I accepted at Lee. I moved to Cleveland, Tennessee, which is where the school is located, and I began my MBA program there. So I played there for 1 year for my final year of school, and I was all conference, all region, all first team All American. I believe the first team All American in league golf history, which was like really really cool. We went all the way to nationals, to the quarterfinals of the national championship, which was the first time that Lee women's golf had ever gone to nationals. So that was really awesome to be a part of. And I still had 1 year of my MBA remaining. So Coach Maupin, who he was the head coach there for many years, he's now the athletic director. He was like, Alex, do you want to come back? You could be the grad assistant, finish your master's and all that stuff. So I ended up staying on for a second year and grad assisting both the men's and women's team.
During that time, what was that experience like going from school to school and then becoming a grad assistant?
Yeah, so I like to move around. I like to travel. I love like meeting new people and living in different places. So like the moving wasn't really hard. It did get tiring by the time like now I'm like in Florida. I'm like I'm kind of settled now, but like yeah, I mean there was ups and downs for sure. Um, but I would say like it all worked out well and it went pretty seamlessly.
What was that feeling like for you getting that grad assistant job at Lee University?
Yeah, it was great. So I was able to obviously study and coach and travel at the same time. It was quite different traveling with the men's team versus the women's. Just the way that they think around the course is very different. So I learned a lot traveling with both teams and working with them on the course. Um, it was a little like it was a little bit difficult to transition into that just because most of the people on the team were my teammates the year before. So then you kind of go from that like friend teammate role to like the authority role, I guess you would say. And like some of them took well to it and some of them didn't. So that was a little bit of a tough transition, but I learned so much from Coach Moppin and Coach G Almeida, who's the women's head coach there. They taught me a lot and I would not trade that year for anything.
For you, what as you said that, what was that transition like going from being an athlete to getting into that coaching role?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad just because I was still in school. I was still doing grad school, which was once a week at night. We had class and I was still doing kind of all the same things. Like I was still going to practice, still going to the tournaments. I just wasn't the one playing anymore. So it wasn't too hard at all. I enjoyed it.
For you, what was that transition like going from Lee College to becoming an assistant coach at Flagler College?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. So once my like year was kind of ending at Lee, I was like, well, I still want to stay in coaching and try to get my work visa as a Canadian. Like you got to get your work visa and stuff like that. It wasn't in the cards for me to stay at Lee, just because of like visa issues and stuff. So I started like looking for jobs. I actually applied to Lynn University and Barry University, two very strong Division II golf programs, both in Florida. Both those jobs fell through. They ended up canceling those assistant positions. So by that time, that was like kind of middle of summer, and I was like, well, something might come through for me, something might not. We'll just kind of see. So I was just kind of waiting and hoping. And then I got an email that Coach Santiago Cavanaugh from Flagler was looking. And actually, I know we know each other. We've known each other before from traveling to different tournaments and stuff. So we weren't close or anything, but we knew of each other. And he reached out, and I came down for a visit, had some interviews, and yeah, the transition was great. He's an awesome coach and boss, and I love all the kids on the team. So it was a pretty good transition for me.
What was that feeling for you becoming the assistant coach at Flagler and getting started?
Well, it was kind of a nice transition. I wasn't coaching anyone that was like my friend, if that makes sense. Like when I was coaching at Lee, they were all like my friends already. So it was a bit of a different, more like I would say professional dynamic coming to Flagler. Um, what was the second part of the question again? Sorry.
And what was that transition like becoming an assistant coach for the first time?
It was good. Like Coach Santiago actually values my input and he takes my opinion into consideration, and we always discuss stuff before making a decision. So it wasn't kind of just like I was the assistant, like you do this, this, and this. Like we're a team, and he would always take my opinions into consideration, which was great.
For you, what was that feeling like getting to put on that coaching golf polo for Flagler?
Yeah, it was great. I love the colors, love red, love black. Proud to wear it. I mean, it's a great school. It's located in the most historic town in America, St. Augustine, Florida. So yeah, I mean, I was very proud to put it on.
What was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto that golf course as a coach?
I would say the first couple practices, I was just like a little nervous because I didn't know how the players would like take to me and stuff like that. I think I was a little bit more reserved, but um, as the as the months and stuff went on, I became a lot closer with them. I got to know their games and how they think on the course. So initially, yeah, I was a little bit nervous, a little bit reserved, but they made it easy for me. Like they're great.
What does a typical golf tournament look like for you as a coach versus for your athletes at Flagler?
Yeah, so as a coach versus an athlete, when you're an athlete, like yes, you're on a team, but golf is such an individual sport. You're kind of just focused on your own thing. You're focused on, okay, like what time am I waking up? When am I going to do my warm up, my stretches? Just kind of getting ready, getting in that headspace to play. When you're a coach, you're kind of worrying. I mean, I don't want to say worrying, but like you're thinking about all your five players. You're like, okay, I gotta, set the outfits, set what time we're going to leave from the hotel, checking in and out of the hotel, getting the van ready, getting the golf cart ready. Like at the tournaments, the coaches all get one cart per team. So we load like all the umbrellas, all the snacks on there, the range finders, yardage books, like all that stuff. So like initially when we get to the course in the morning for the tournaments, first thing we'll go load up the cart, get ice, the coolers, all that stuff. And then after that, kind of like check on the kids, see like how they're warming up. Then we'll kind of discuss like where on the course we're going to be. Like, okay, I'll be on this hole, you be on this hole. Then we'll meet up at this time, and then we'll go our separate ways again and go to another hole. Um, and if someone's struggling, we'll text each other throughout the round and be like, okay, I'm gonna go walk with this girl, or and you go walk with her, or you stay on this hole. So like we're constantly in communication on the course and just trying to be everywhere at once. Obviously you can't, but we try to be like in the spots that we can be that'll most benefit the players.
As a coach, what is some of your favorite courses that you've coached on?
Ooh, I really liked Grand Oaks in Fort Lauderdale. They actually filmed Caddyshack there. It was a really, really cool course. I played when I was still a player. I also played there at the regional championship. Um, where else did we go this year? I really liked. I really liked. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I can't like think of any golf courses right now. Uh, Chasta's a really nice course in North Georgia. It's like set in like all these like beautiful houses surrounding and stuff like that. Um, Yeah, I really can't think of any right now. Sorry, you might have to cut that question out.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against each week?
In our conference, so yeah, we're in the Peach Belt Conference. We're actually the only team in Florida, like from Florida, that's in that conference. North Georgia that I just mentioned, we play against them quite a bit. Their men's team is super strong. They won conference and regionals this year. They won a bunch of regular season events. We play against Columbus State and Georgia Southwestern, another really good men's team. It's actually kind of cool because like the Division 2, I wouldn't. It's kind of like a circuit, I would say. Like we see a lot of the same teams, a lot of the same coaches every week, and Coach Santiago and I are good friends with a lot of the coaches. So I would say like it's kind of like a family. So when you see those teams in your conference, you're still rooting for them and stuff like that. You want them to do well. So that's kind of how I would explain that.
What is that home tournament like and that home atmosphere like when playing in your tournaments at home?
Yeah, so we host two women's events, one in the fall, one in the spring. We host one men's event in the fall. Um, it's kind of a lot of work. Like we gotta, send out all the information to the coaches. We gotta get the hotel bookings, like, set those blocks so the coaches can pick their rooms and all that stuff. Obviously we gotta like get in contact with the golf course, like, okay, we need the course for these days. That the professionals at the course also help us with like scoring and scorecards, setting up the carts. So a lot of it is the golf course, like that's hosting us. We got to make sure we send out like practice times. We got to make the pairings. We got to invite the teams and all that stuff. So it's a lot to host, but it's fun. It's nice to be close to campus, and our photographer will come out, or some of the players' friends will come and watch. It's easier for like families to come watch. It's fun, but it's a lot of work, but it's fun.
As you talked about that, what is that like obviously playing off campus but still close to campus?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to like be a sport that's on campus where people could come watch us all the time. Obviously, golf is a sport where like you're never going to be on campus. So I mean, it's like has its ups and downs. It's kind of nice to be like away from everybody to some degree, but then, it's nice to also have that support from people when we do happen to be, hosting near campus.
What does that recruitment process look like? And as a coach, what do you look at in that recruitment?
Yeah, so with recruiting, um, if we find a player we like, we can reach out to them via like DM or email. We'll get a lot of email. We get a ton of emails per day from prospective student athletes. Typically, if we're interested in someone, we'll get that initial. I'll kind of start with the initial like contact over DM or whatever it may be. I'll set up that first phone call. We'll either do like a video call or just a regular call. I'll kind of have my typical set of questions that I ask them, and I'll have my like information about the school that I tell them about, and then I kind of open it up. They ask me, whatever questions they have about the program and stuff like that. And if we find that we're going to be like serious with this student athlete, then I'll kind of pass it along to Coach Santiago, and he will kind of look at them and decide like, okay, we're going to proceed with this, or we're going to be like, you're not a great fit for our program. If they live close by, we'll have them come visit the campus. We'll show them around. We'll show them all the facilities. Maybe we'll take them to the golf course, show them the campus and stuff like that.
As a coach, what is it like getting to see those prospective student athletes fall in love with the campus and the golf course?
Yeah, it's cool. So we have like a really unique campus. Obviously, like I mentioned, it's the oldest city in America, or town, I guess you would say. It's very like beautiful Spanish architecture, like super old buildings. So just to kind of like see their face when they walk through, like they feel like they're kind of stepping back in time. So we're definitely like, proud when we show off our campus because it is really pretty.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that golf polo for the first time?
Yeah, it's kind of like nostalgic, I guess. Like I think back to like when I was a freshman, and I try to understand like their nerves, and they might be a little bit, intimidated by the seniors and stuff like that. Or when qualifying rolls around, I know they're just going to be like a little bit nervous. So try to take it a little bit easier on them just because it's like their first time and stuff. But it's definitely cool to see that like they're starting a new chapter of their journey, their golf journey.
What is that like getting to see those seniors put on that golf polo for the last time for Flagler?
Yeah, it's sad. It's definitely a little emotional. Like for example, with the girls, we had two seniors leave us. And, when we lost in the quarterfinals at nationals, it was obviously sad because not only did we like lose the match, but it was their kind of last day playing for us. So that was, an emotional time. And we had three senior guys leave. So a total of five. I don't know, it's sad, but it's also like proud, like, you made an impact on their life in some degree. And now you get to see what they do with the rest of their, career and life.
What is it like as a coach getting to see them go on from playing college golf to getting into the professional circuit of golf?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, some of them do turn pro, some of them don't. It kind of depends on their level of playing ability, but We always follow along with their leaderboards and stuff if they do choose to go pro, and if they end up just working stuff like that, we'll still check up on them, see how they're doing, via text, via social media. But yeah, it's cool. It's like, like I help or we help them in some degree, to go on with their life. So yeah, it's really cool.
What are some of your future plans for Flagler College golf program moving forward?
Yeah, so this year for the women's, it was a huge breakthrough year. Like the girls shattered a bunch of records. I think they improved the team scoring average by around 11 or 12 strokes like that. Um, they won 4 regular season events plus conference, plus went to nationals for the very first time in Flagler golf history, like men's or women's, which was really cool. We had 3 All-Americans, two first team, 1 second team. Three of the top girls, I believe their scoring averages were from like 71.7 to 73, which is, they're consistently around par or better, which was really, really cool to see. Plans for the future. I mean, we just kind of want to build on this momentum of, having the best season in history, and we want to win more. I mean, the girls are super driven. They show up to practice, they put their head down, they're like, they do their work, they want to win every tournament they go to, and which is, I think, sometimes a little rare to see from a female team, if that makes sense. Sometimes girls just play golf for their dad, or they just play because they're on a scholarship. But these girls, I'm very fortunate to work with them because they love to win, they love to compete. So they kind of make my job easier. But as for the future, I believe this upcoming year, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more with the girls, and Coach Santiago might be a little more with the men's team. Typically, we've been pretty even with it, but I think that's kind of where it's heading this year, in that direction.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college women's golf?
Yeah, I would say for incoming freshmen, I mean, don't set your expectations like super, super high. Obviously, college golf is a different level than high school golf or junior golf. I would say manage your time very well because obviously, sleep, golf, academics, and social life. And sometimes you can only have 3 out of that 4. So time management is very important. Um, as a freshman, I mean, I would say don't cause any trouble, respect the seniors, do your work, and obviously have fun. Like college is about fun, so I would say it's definitely important to have a balance of everything.
What advice would you give those college athletes looking to go play professionally, whether it's the PGA or LPGA?
That's a controversial question. Looking to go professional, I mean, if you're not like consistently number 1 in your lineup or consistently around par or better, I would say like don't really waste your time going pro, just because I see how hard it is out there to make it. I mean, you could be living out of your car, you could be relying on other people for money. I mean, if you don't have a good practice like work ethic, then you're probably not going to make it. So I would make sure you have like all those things in order before you try to go professional.
What advice would you give those college athletes looking to get into coaching after their playing career?
I would say, kind of just keep the same like mentality you had like as a student athlete. Like you still got to work hard as a coach. Like the work never stops. You're constantly thinking about your players and what you can do to make them better. Constantly planning stuff, changing stuff, scheduling practices, tournaments. So good advice I would say like you have to be a good manager. And especially if you kind of do what I did, where you go into coaching your previous teammates, definitely got to be professional and separate that like friendship aspect, you know what I mean, into like a coaching player aspect.
What advice would you give those future assistant coaches out there looking to get started?
Yeah, I would say a lot of coaching jobs come about by word of mouth. It's kind of all about who you know. Obviously, there's jobs you can find on NCAA job market, there's job listings and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's definitely word of mouth. Make connections. If you're a player, like if you're still a player looking to get into coaching, definitely at tournaments that you play, like don't be afraid to like chit chat to the coaches. Like let's say you're waiting on a tee for a while to tee off, or like there's it's backed up on a par three. Like feel free to chit chat and make those connections and kind of put yourself out there.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Flagger program at?
Sorry, what did you kind of cut out at the beginning there?
Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
Oh, on social media? Yeah, I use primarily Instagram. My handle is alex.naumovski. I don't use Twitter or Facebook too much. And then the Flagler golf account is also on Instagram. So primarily using Instagram for me and my team.
Thank you again, Coach Alex Naumovski, for your interview and best luck in your future at Flagler as the assistant golf coach.
The future at sorry, you kind of cut out again there.
Thank you again for your interview and best luck in your future wherever it may hold you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Alex, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you so much.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.